Greetings. I am Pastor Harris, and welcome to this edition of Understanding with Pastor Harris. Recently, we've been talking about building a relationship with God, and we talked about several ways to do it. And recently, the last edition, we talked about prayer, communicating with God. Today, I want to continue on that with a special aspect of prayer. Many times I'm asked the question, is there a special way to pray? Yes, it's with openness, honesty, and sincerity. Openness with God, honesty because you can't lie to God, and sincerity to talk to Him sincerely about whatever is on your mind or your concern is. There is not a special position that we must use to pray. You see, our connection with God is made through our heart and our mind. It's not by any particular physical position that we must take. You see, the Bible talks about 4 different positions of prayer throughout the Bible. It talks about standing, it talks about kneeling, it talks about bowing, and it talks about prostrate, where some people lie flat on their stomachs and their face and they talk to God in that position. There is no specified position for talking with God. You just begin your communications with Him. We might remember, some of you, that when we were small children going to school or to church and they asked us to pray, they said, bow your heads and close your eyes, and we even as children clasp our hands. You see, we're taught that out of respect to God, to take those positions when we're talking to Him. But there is no special or preordained position that we must have to talk to God. We can talk to Him anytime and any way. You see, prayer is an honest conversation with God, and there is no formality required. Prayer is for the benefit of man. We need to make that clear. It's not for God. For you see, God knows everything. He's aware of our conditions before we go to Him. But we need to go to God, to talk to Him for many reasons, and we'll discuss that later on as well. But today I want to discuss with you about, is there a way to pray? You see, when we talk to God, we can talk to Him about anything, and it normally gets better. We've learned here in the human form on earth that sometimes there are specially trained people that we can go and talk to about certain things, and those things will get better. We call that therapy, and that's exactly what our conversations with God are. They are therapeutic, and when we talk to God, things get better. Our minds get stronger, our faith in Him gets better, and we learn more and more to trust in Him. Prayer with God is therapeutic. When we talk to God, we focus on ourselves, but the Bible says that we should pray for others as well. This is what the Bible says in Ephesians, the 6th chapter, verse 18. It says, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions, with all kinds of prayers and requests. Now, I need to stop and tell you about that word spiritual. When we're dealing with God, God is a spirit being. That doesn't mean He's some shady creature that you can't see and He flies and mysteriously. No. There are 2 aspects of life when we're dealing with God. We deal with the human aspect, that's you and me here on this earth, and we will deal with God, who is the creator of you and I and everything on this earth. And He, in that essence, is a spirit being. So this is what the Bible is talking about here. And pray in the Spirit on all occasions and with all kinds of prayers and requests. But keep in mind what it says here. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all of God's people. Yes, we talk to God about ourselves, but we also petition God, talk to God, ask Him to handle and take care of the affairs of others to make their lives better as well. There are no times that are special to talk to God. We just connect with him whenever we wish to. Sometimes we need to talk to God quickly in an emergency, or sometimes things may happen and we may just shout out, "Oh God, oh Lord, help me, Father," and things like that. I want you to know that's considered prayer as well. And whenever that occurs, God hears us also. And nothing else need to be said. We can pray many times a day, morning, noon, evening, night. For when we eat, it makes no difference. The thing is, we should always keep God in mind and talk to him whenever we can about anything. Again, anytime you can talk with God. He wants to build up a relationship with you, and communicating with him, and we call that prayer, is one of the best things to do. He loves you. He loves you. And he wants to see that all of us, that our lives will improve. Talk to him. Talk to him often. He loves you, no matter who you are, where you are, or what you've done. He may not like what you're doing or what you've done, but God loves you, and he will hear your prayers. God bless you. See you the next time on Understanding with Pastor Harris.